test, mic test, mic, mic test, mic test. Okay, mic works. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, we're good. How you been? Been a while? We'll say I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll do. I'll just. There you go. You got it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, sorry, I'm just let people too long. I know all of you guys just came from work, so why don't you just help yourself to some lunch or to some like a mid-afternoon snack while we wait for everybody else to arrive, and then we'll start shortly. Cool, thanks. Cool. Evening, everybody. For those that just arrived, firstly, thank you very much for coming. Could everyone just please grab their snacks and their drinks and just be seated, but be seated. We're starting in the next 5 minutes. Thanks.
Cool.
evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming through to our Tech Legal Open Day. I'm Mikhail Martin, the project coordinator for the Empire Partner Foundation, and I am very excited to see you all here, to receive you guys. And just to tell you, give you a little more background to the foundation. We're a tech foundation that's focused on building tech solutions to address public sector issues. One of the sectors that we're focused on is access to justice, in which through our partnership with Pro Bono, we have built a digital case management solution. And I would like to hand over to Amber Williams, who will just talk you through a little bit more about our digital case management solution, and take you through the rest of the program for today.
Good evening, everybody. Such a pleasure to have you all here with us. And we are so excited as EPF to introduce you to the future of digitizing the legal fraternity. And you guys are right here with us on the cutting edge. So Empire Partner Foundation was founded in 2016 by the youth, for the youth, and we are called Empire Partner Foundation because of the empire that Africa was and will return to be, with all of our contribution. Partner, because we do not see competition, but only collaboration. And a foundation, because we are a non-profit and public beneficiary organization. And in 2016, our founder, Mr. Nathan Marimutu, had the vision of how to empower the youth to build solutions to solve public sector challenges. We're 9 years on, and we are very proud to have, within these 9 years, created a massive impact in 10 challenges that we focus on, access to justice being one of them. But some of the impact that we've made is, over these 9 years, we have been able to upskill over 12,000 youth in digital skills. We have trained and placed over 4,000 young people in permanent jobs across sectors, and we have also helped to create and disperse over 400 micro enterprises. And this speaks to our core values, which is youth, technology, and entrepreneurship. And today, all of you are here to see what a group of digitally skilled, passionate young people can create that can revolutionize sectors on the whole. As EPF, we have our 3 entities that fall under. We have the foundation, which has our 4 products. We have Solve4X, where we run hackathons, problem-solving methodologies, partnered with Gibbs. We have our innovation drives. And through that, we are able to solve challenges for industries and sectors, especially through our hackathons. We've run over 40 to date, the largest being over 1,000 participants. We also have our visible social impact platform, and what that does is it's able to visualize actual impact for you. So a lot of us know reporting can be a very tedious exercise and usually very costly, and we are able to give you real-time dashboards on the impact that you're making with the models, and that can be from your ESG, your SDGs, that can be your own strategic goals, or looking at national development plans. But we are able to take down, even to the rand value, how directly and indirectly you are impacting South Africans' lives. We also have our Trust Us product, and that's where we take all of these solutions that our young people build, and we take them into markets, and we put them in the use cases where they are going to make the greatest amount of impact. And lastly, we have our EPF production house. As you can see, our wonderful digital setup. They do all of our media, marketing, events planning and management for the foundation. We then have our artificial intelligence campus. Now, I heard a lot of people talking about AI, the next big thing in the digital area is AI. And what we do at the AI campus, where we have over 120 young people, both here in Johannesburg at this tech hub, and we have 2 more in Cape Town. And at these hubs, these students go through a training program for future skills, so your AI skills, your e-commerce, your blockchain, your data science, and then we get them to apply it and build real life solutions that we then take out to all of you. And lastly, we have our EPF Tech Fund, and that's our venture capitalist and venture building where we invest in Black-owned youth tech startups that make a social impact. And as we were speaking of earlier, we have our 10 challenges that we look at. So all of the companies that we invest in work towards solving one of those 10 challenges. In the last 8 years of the Tech Fund, we've gotten our own methodology. It's more of a hand-holding process. I'm sure a lot of you who have some kind of knowledge and background in venture capitalism would know that simply investing or giving money and seeing them the next quarter is just not enough. And we've gotten really down to the nitty-gritties of how to provide that support, those resources, and how to teach them not only to be sustainable but scalable. And all of this has created the EPF ecosystem, which we are now also taking out into other parts of Africa to create not only a digitally inclusive Africa, but a digitally inclusive continent on the whole, where we can share innovation and we can better our continent from the inside. We don't need to look any further than what we have right here. So welcome everyone, and I'm sure you're going to be really blown away by how our X-Verdict, our digital case management system, is going to change the way that the legal fraternity handles cases from here onwards. I'd like to hand over to Mr. Shafi. And then he'll give you a bit of a background on our partnership with Pro Bono and the strides we are making towards access to justice. Thank you.
Thank you. After Amber has given you an introduction to what this entire ecosystem is about, I'm going to be sounding very amateurish, primarily because the visible social impact of what Pro Bono did after joining hands with the Empire Partner Foundation, we revolutionized the entire access to justice in the country. A little bit about Pro Bono. Many of you know Pro Bono in terms of the Legal Practice Act. Legal practitioners have to contribute 28 hours, and after the regulations kick in, it's going to be 40 hours of pro bono work. So where do I start? And that's the question Alice asked the king and he said, you start at the beginning and you end when you come to the end. And this is exactly where we are today. Pro Bono started in 2006 as a law clinic, primarily premised on, as many of you know, on the basis of a clearinghouse model. Now, in the clearinghouse model, for the benefit of everybody here, lawyers and non-lawyers, is that Pro Bono has 3 offices, Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town. We have a dedicated staff of 30 people in those 3 stations. And with those 30 staff, we did, just in the last year, 2024, the financial year, we did 5,037 cases. It's only civil cases. We don't do criminal matters. Criminal matters, we refer them to the legal aid board. And of those 5,037, we resolve 70% of those cases in-house. So how do we do it? So we have what we call the clearinghouse model. We have the indigent clients, the vulnerable clients, the poor clients, clients who have been tossed from pillar to post, from law clinic to law clinic until they come to Pro Bono. And then we address their needs. We have interns who are the unemployed law graduates who can't find articles, but they have a powerful LLB degree, but nowhere to go. So we engage them on a 1-year contract, and they are the frontline service providers that see to the clients who come in. and they analyzed the nature of the problem, the complexity of the problem. And as I said, we solved 70% of those cases, which was 3,600 of those cases of the 5,037 cases, primarily because of the in-house legal expertise that we've developed. So we have the interns, we have them being supervised by staff attorneys, and we have an ecosystem within Pro Bono where we have the senior staff attorney that basically oversees to the entire core functions, the substantive work that Pro Bono does. And in that way, the 30% of the complex problems that we cannot solve in-house and maybe that requires some kind of litigation or further expertise, we have a panel of 535 legal practitioners around the country who have now volunteered to do Pro Bono for us. And then we hand over to them. And through that expertise, we then basically reach out to everybody. And in the last financial year, we had done, Margaret, was it 10,000 hours of, the legal practitioners gave us 10,000 hours of pro bono work, right? And it was valued at 30 million rand. Now that is mind-boggling because we don't have that money. We have an operating budget of 12 million rand, and we are totally donor-driven for our survival. But this is what we can produce, contribute to the social justice ecosystem on access to justice, making justice accessible to everybody. Having said that, by way of introduction, we then said to ourselves, how can we make it better? And so I approached Mr. Nathan Marimutu, who's the founder of Empire Partner Foundation, and we met over a cup of tea, and I said to him, Nathan, you gotta help me here. And he says, how? I said, both of us are social justice activists, but you come from the AI sector, and I come from the legal sector, and can we find some way where we can strategize and work together? And so Nathan came over and came to our office, and we saw how we operated, right, as a law clinic. And for those who have been to Pro Bono, you'll always see that it's quite an open plan, I just have an open plan. I don't have an office locked up with a board. And I just sit there like a church mouse and I just do my work that is required of me. And we allow the system to work. So Nathan then basically, together with his team, Amber, Simba, and all the team from EPF, designed a program for us to digitalize our entire case management system. So they migrated all 5,037 cases that we did last year, and they put it onto the digital platform. So I'm proud to say that as I stand today, we've done over 9,000 cases and it's all live, right? So what it does for legal practitioners, any legal practitioner, whether they whether they practice as attorneys or whether they at the bar council, all they have to do is online record, the hours that they've consulted with, and at the end of the exercise, they'll give us their opinions and the answers, but the system records the 40 hours as well. And then we say to them that you can take this certificate and you can go to the LPC, you can produce a certificate, and it's your contribution to society for the hours that you've done. And in this way, through a strategic collaboration partnership, which I coined as a strategic collaboration partnership for impact, because we cannot do it on our own. It's impossible for 30 people to do 8,000 cases. But when we join hands through the strategic collaboration partnership, we can do, and we have done, and we will do much more better. What it does, and it was a win-win situation for both of us. For Pro Bono, it saved us a lot of hours with pen and paper to do what we needed to do. And at the touch of a button, we can resolve issues on the digital platform with the expertise that we have through the clearinghouse model and the experts of the legal practitioners that are part of our ecosystem. For EPF, they can use our data for social justice imperatives and inform Parliament and the policy makers on how to make better rules and regulations for governance. So across the board, it's just a win-win situation for everybody. Today is just but an introduction of what it's all about. We are very grateful to all of you for coming. Thank you for making this time. We really would appreciate you coming over to Pro Bono, coming to see the ecosystem as it works. And we, as I said, our interns, they come in with an academic qualification, but after 1 year, I challenge any law firm out here, big or small, if you want good candidate attorneys, come to Pro Bono. You'll get the best, because they come in the 1 year that they work with me, they come on a Monday at 8 o'clock and they go home religiously every day at 4 o'clock home, but they have a full day's work and experience that they get there. And it's just consulting, researching, advising, under supervision across all sectors of the civil law, whatever the nature of the problems are. And when they walk out of my office, they walk out as problem solvers as well. So I'm very happy that my interns are here as well. They can engage with you, and you get a good product if you take any of them. In fact, just yesterday, I got a lovely message, Margaret. The reason why I mentioned Margaret, because Margaret is my communications and the fundraising director. We work very closely to keep the operation alive. So I got a lovely message from one of our interns who said to me that she's working in Ballito. And she is working, she was working after she left us, she got a short-term contract there. And now she's been appointed as secretary, an acting secretary to the company itself. And she just sent a message to me yesterday to say thank you for all the experience she got from Pro Bono. So this is what Pro Bono does. So I think I've said what I needed to say. I want to say welcome to everybody. We can grow together, the ecosystem, because we're all addressing issues of social justice, poverty, inequality, unemployment, all the social ills. I always say, when you come to Pro Bono, you'll see we service clients who are poor, who have no money in their pockets, who have no food, but when they walk out happy. Because the first thing I do is I give them tea, coffee, biscuits with milk, sugar, and then I give them sandwiches and I give them biscuits. And sometimes that's the only meal that they have. And so I always say at university, you always learn about human rights, but you learn half the story. The other half that you don't learn is where you see people who have to scratch the dustbins for their food. You see them sleeping in the streets as homeless people, looking for shelters in this cold weather. Those are the people we deal with. We give them dignity from the time that they come and consult with us till the time they leave with a smile. And we give them hope as well. And that's our job. So thank you everybody for the opportunity. Thank you for coming to this thing. We would really want all of you to come and visit us at Pro Bono at Constitutional Hill, because Constitutional Hill is just an amazing place. Its historical content is just absolutely amazing in the sense that it always reminds us of what the preamble says. A painful past, a bright future, but the transition from the past to the future is a journey that we still continue, that still continues. And so through this ecosystem, if we all put our hands together and put our shoulders to the wheel, we will make it happen. And I'm very confident of that. And these are milestone steps that we're taking. And I can tell you, lastly, in conclusion, the revolution that happened and that is happening through the partnership between Pro Bono and EPF has resulted in us being invited in November to a global event called PILNet, which is the Public Interest Law Network, which is a global event covering all the pro bono organizations throughout the world. And they are inviting us pro bono to share our expertise on this digital platform, how we revolutionize case management so that poor people can get better, smarter, and quicker justice with quality and dignity. So welcome to EPF, and thank you to EPF for making this as a platform. And yes, of course, I cannot but not mention my friend, Mr. A.B. Musa, who's also part of the EPF ecosystem. But from his contribution is, he's the director, he's the owner of the Avalon Cinema group of companies that is a national brand in this country. And whenever I want to show a movie with a social content in it, I'll phone him and I'll say, A.B., can you make your movie house available? And he's never ever turned me down. First of all, he gives me a world-class movie house. He gives me free popcorn and cold drink. And when people come there, they sit and they really enjoy what they see. And I'm asking, Amy, can I mention this about the Great Town Girl?
The movie, yeah,
Yes.
not the award yet, but yeah.
The movie. So Amy was instrumental in putting a movie together called Great Town Girl. And we had the privilege of seeing it. And it's now before the Cannes Film Festival as one of the movies that has been selected for an international award. And that's him, A.B. Musa. So
It's a lot of people.
it's A.B. Musa and his team. So thank you on that note, and just enjoy the rest of this thing. We'll network with each other as we go, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at Pro Bono. Thank you very much on behalf of Pro Bono, and thank you on behalf of EPF.
Nate is not here, but he'll be hopefully soon.
So thank you so much, Shafi, and I think Shafi's really highlighted the crux of what we do, which is partnering with other like-minded, impactful organizations to reach our goals. And we'd like to invite all of you to do the same. We're going to have a live demo now of the platform, and we'd really like to show you what we mean when we say that we are revolutionizing digital case management. So for probono.org, what this platform does is it makes it a completely streamlined exercise to register, be assigned a pro bono case, fulfill your pro bono hours, and get your certificate. Obviously working towards the greater good, the public interest. But what this also does, if you're looking at it from a law firm or as an attorney or a lawyer's perspective, is that we have now centralized and digitized the process of opening a case, managing your case, tracking your hours, communicating with your client, and seeing that the case through to fruition, whatever that may mean. Mediation, going into court. But what this does is we've now created tools where you are able to have a complete audit trail from the minute that you open a case. You're able to have complete client communications. Through the platform, everything is transparent. You're able to track your billable hours that you've worked on each of your cases. And you also have a centralized document hub that verifies all of your documentation. But I'm going to hand it over to the experts. So this is the Pro Bono team. There's not a single person on our artificial intelligence campus over the age of 30. So you're going to see the innovation and the minds of our young people and what they're really capable of.
Afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to take you through the Pro Bono system and the capabilities of it, right? So I'm just going to show you the dashboard side. So this is where you can manage or see what's going on inside your system without you going on each and every tab and see what's going on with the cases. Are they moving or there's progress on your cases? So you can see all the type of cases, the law firm that you have, attorneys that you have, and the total value generated in that current year. And also the cases that have been loaded today, current month cases and current day cases and total imported cases. So now let's say I want to create a case. I'll go to case management, and then I'll see all the cases that I have and the statuses of those cases. So you can check your cases based on the statuses that you have. There's pending, there's active, there's referred, there's resolved and closed. So let's say I create a case, right? So I'll add a case, and then I'll select the main category of that case, which can be consumer law, general wills. So let's say I create a will case, a family case, and then I selected the record type where the case is taken. And then now the case is created, right? There's a case number, you can download the case, and then you can see who created that case. But now I'll fill in the client information. You can select the type of client that you want to. So you can select it, either you're creating a new client or there's an existing client, so you're adding a case to that client that already exists on the system. So you can either create as a new client and then select the type of the record type, and then which I'll choose personal. And then you can fill in all the client information. And then I'll go through and open a case that already has the information so that I don't waste most of the time. So here, there's a case, and then you can manage and see who created that case. So you can see the case was created by Mbalente, and this is the personal client. The case fact was written by Mbalente. Everything about that case is here. You can see who touched the case. So I'll view the case. So you can see the client information, and then you can see the means test. So this is where we check their financial eligibility. They write what they earn in a month, or how much are they getting in a month, yeah. And then the case facts. This is mostly about everything about this case. This is where they log their cases, the case origin, what is happening on that case, when did it occur, and the dates referred. So these are the case facts. You can write whatever is going on with this case. And then you can upload documents. You can upload proof of resident, ID, proof of address, and also now you can refer the case. So this case was referred to pro bono attorney, and you have all the information of that attorney was referred to this case. So the attorney who got this case, they have an email saying that there's a case that has been referred to them, and then they can log in and see the case on their side when they log into the system. And also now they can communicate through the case, what is going on. So now progress of this case. You can add a journal. So on journal, that's when you can say I've worked on this, it was paperwork, and I worked 4 hours, and then you calculate how much you've worked on this particular case. And then you can communicate on this journal, maybe asking the client more documents, or there's a document that is not visible enough, then you can communicate, and the client will get that communication and will also reply to this communication. And then you can now move the case on the statuses that you want. You can update, you can refer to a law firm, you can close the case if you want to. And then also, you can download this case. So this is the case that I've created. You can download it as a PDF and send it to your stakeholders. And also now there's membership. So membership here, you create the type of membership that you have. And then you can add tags what the attorneys or the law firm can see, or what they can do on the system. So this is where you can add your membership. These are the membership that I have. And you can also identify the price of that membership and what tags they will gain, the access they will gain when they subscribe to that membership. And then once they subscribe, as an admin, you can see who subscribed to the membership and how much are they paying, and the billing cycle of their membership. So this is where you check all the members that have been subscribed to a particular membership. And also there's billing side. So now here, this is where we track the hours that the attorneys have worked on a case, and is those hours billable or not billable. So these are the billable hours. So you can see the hours they've worked. This is the case number, and then this is the client name, and then this is the attorney. The hours worked for a particular case, and how much are these hours worth. And you can see the amount range for that. So the total amount is 5,950. Is it billable? It's yes. And then you can also get an invoice as a client. How much are you owing that attorney for those hours that they've worked on? So this is the invoice. It's Zandile Nzuza, and then it shows you if they've paid and they haven't paid, and how much are they owing you. And then this is the invoice that is sent to the client. And then you have the payment history of the invoices that have been paid and the amount that has been paid by the client. And then timesheet. Timesheet is where you can put in your hours, where maybe let's say you forgot the number of the case or you forgot the client. You can just log in a timesheet and say, I've worked a particular amount of time on this case, and then the admin or the law firm will review those hours and say, okay, this person has worked on this, and then those hours will be calculated on the amount payable of the case. So this is where they can log their timesheet, and it's either billable or not billable. So these ones, the admin, they review those hours and see if they are billable. And also now you can manage your users. So you have all the users that you want. You have attorneys, you have CEOs, you have advocates, mediators, pro bono, and paralegals. So you can manage all your users here, and you can also view their information. So this is where you view their information of the users, and you can also, there's also law firm. So now this is where the law firm, you manage the law firm and also see the attorneys that belongs into that law firm. So these are the law firm, and you can view the law firm. It will show you the attorneys that are inside that or that belongs to the particular law firm. And also on the case, you can either assign an attorney or a law firm. So a law firm will get that case, and they can also assign the case to their law firm, their attorneys inside that law firm. And also we have reports. So this is where you can generate the reports of the cases and also send them the report to your stakeholders. So just generate any report. So this is the report side. You can generate the cases, or you can generate the reports of the cases itself. Okay. Okay. I'll move on to Global Search. So Global Search is now where you can find your users around the system. So maybe you have a lot of data and you have a lot of users, you can manage them each and every step. So you can just type in any name and it will show you the person that you are looking for on the system, and you can quickly find the person on the system. So you can just open it and it will show you the case of that person. I think I've shown most of the things. So this system can help you to manage each and everything in one platform, assigning login hours, sharing your report to other stakeholders, and all of those things.
There's any questions?
I'm not sure. Yeah. Can I take any questions?
I think just one thing to clarify is also, although the young lady made reference to billables, obviously that's for a commercial use case. But where it is when it falls under pro bono is the billables are then used by the legal firm who give that pro bono work as a tax rebate. So when they do their annual tax returns, because they've given it as pro bono, they get a tax benefit. So that's why the system still keeps the billables, because obviously that it's part of the benefit from a tax calculation point of view. I just want to clarify, because you might think that Shafi said pro bono, we're not charging, and then there's someone who's being billed. But it's to attach a value, not to. Obviously, we are also using this platform for commercial use. That's independent of pro bono, but that's the rationale. Yeah. But any questions from any direction?
And also, because this is made in-house, obviously this could be customized to your workflows, the cases that your firm works on, we would white label it. So all of the solutions that we make are 100% customizable and then would become your own.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, it's proudly South African. So this is not from the US, not anywhere. These are all young, talented South Africans, which showcases our country's talent. And in terms of what Shafi mentioned earlier on, in terms of the international showcasing of this, we've already showcased some of it to international legal firms, and they haven't seen anything like it so far. So already that's a great indication. And another way that, as Amber mentioned, integrations. One of the solutions which we've done at EPF is we've done a safety app for gender-based violence, as an example. And we're busy integrating that with pro bono so that one of the challenges that victims of abuse face is not just about alerting and health and other issues, but it's about getting legal support if they want to deal with the perpetrator. And that's where we're integrating with pro bono to actually allow that as part of the bigger ecosystem. So that's where this whole white labeling collaboration takes place. I think you have a question, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. My name is Bartu. I'm an attorney at Thompson Law. Well, I just wanted to understand, when you create a case, does that mean that you're opening a new file basically for a new client that has certain facts, but it might not necessarily lead to an actual law proceeding or application or action or whatever to be initiated? I mean, it's not a case in the sense of a court case. It's a case in the sense of it's a new client that needs help that might become a court case. Because it looks similar to, for example, the court online system, which is the High Court system, that's the case management system for the High Court. But obviously that can't be connected because most of these cases, I'm assuming, would be magistrates court if it goes to court. So that's just what I want to understand when we talk about a case. And I'm assuming there's no connection or it can't be linked, for example, to the High Court to try and make that efficient.
Yes, that's true. The case is only created on the system. It's not a file that is open on the court or...
So if I could just step in there. So yes, each case would be treated as when you first start a consultation, and that's obviously for all of your auditing purposes and being able to track your case and the management. The greater goal is for us to integrate with the Law Society of South Africa, with the Department of Justice, to eventually have those integrations. And that's why at present we're very focused, number one, on security, which is why all of our platforms are cloud-based, and also with the white labeling so that all of your information is secure, because that's obviously a huge risk when you're looking at integrating with the state or with a larger data network, especially with such sensitive information. And then also with the platform, it's mobile friendly to all cases. So when we're looking at pro bono's use case, when we look at access to justice, people aren't always able to go to a lawyer's office, to phone a lawyer, to have a consultation in person or in whatever format that they may have it. And so we've made this so that there are consent forms and you can open a case from your mobile phone as a community advice officer. So in terms of integrating, yes, but I think we need to first, or what we're currently doing is getting it to a place where we onboard and make sure that if we have the legal fraternity doing it, then the state will follow, because then that is where most of your data is centralized and where they can communicate seamlessly or interact seamlessly with the legal fraternity or exchange case files or whatever the need is. But we'd first need to create that need, and by doing that, also create a space where you don't have to have case files. You can digitally go and send somebody or have access to all documentation. But we are now in that adoption phase. So in the legal fraternity, I mean, and any of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a love of paperwork, and there's a lot of it. And we're trying to show you that through a platform like this, that's how we get to integrating with state. That's how we get to streamlining these processes and these relationships through technology. I'm not sure.
Thanks very much. That does. Just on the onboarding things, I think is when you onboard a client, is there like a FICA process that has to be followed? In other words, that you need to get their IDs and that kind of thing, and then you upload it, and then.
So we do have verification services where you can add ID or passport numbers, and we are connected and we are integrated with Departments of Home Affairs and the credit bureaus in order to verify that information. But one of the other projects that EPF is working on, we work with Plan Act on a digital addressing project. So that's where people in informal settlements, especially, they don't have traditional or standardized addresses, which means they can't be FICA'd and they're excluded from voting, services, access to a lot of things. Now, Plan Act and EPF have partnered with Google Earth, where you get a plus code or geolocation for a person that can be FICA'd. So you are now able to doubly verify somebody who would be, they'd give you the nearest main street to their informal settlement, but now you actually are able to find people, which then works towards the greater good of justice. So that's definitely in the works. Yes.
My name is Gavin Rome from the Johannesburg Bar. I've worked with Ahmed for many years on the High Court Committee, and what we're seeing through digitization of the courts is interesting, and it's doubly interesting given how we can case manage from the other side. Can I just ask, we are intrigued about your references to your Artificial Intelligence University or department.
Yes.
Is there something here which you can harvest the intelligence in AI or large language models to assist you to get to the ideal output of a case or an ideal result? So to go beyond digitization of your workflow processes to get a desired outcome, and to be using the latest LLM tools to help you get to that output and that result in as quick a time as possible?
That's an excellent question, and at the moment what we're currently working towards is we have a lot of AI agents and we're using small language models. Obviously there's a lot more risk in terms of misinformation in how your LLMs are trained, and that would be something that would be done over time. But through our data analytics engines, our models and our SLMs, or our small language models, what we're able to do is give insights and recommendations rather than draw conclusions. And I think now, especially with generative AI and auto-generative AI really starting to hit its stride or hit its peak, governance, I mean, I was at an AI governance and human rights panel at Bowman's not so long ago, and the huge issue is how do we govern that? So there's also an ethical responsibility to, yes, we want to streamline and we want to advance, but where do we then balance that with the governance, because there aren't the regulations and there aren't necessarily enforceable laws that could govern that process now in the innovation stages. And that's also why we invite the legal fraternity to sort of guide where the law still is in the process of developing those frameworks. But but to answer your question, our VSI platform, so all the data that you would give into it, you can create your framework, or you can create an SLM within your environment that could give recommendations and insights based on that. But based on an LLM, I think there's still a little bit of collaboration that's needed to get there.
I also think, just to add to that, the exponential enhancement of AI in the next coming years is going to be huge. And with APIs, once their models and the systems are perfected, can easily be plugged in. But the vision around this is the foundation. Once you get the foundation in place, and then like you mentioned in the High Court, the technology that's there, other things, those once they are aligned and approved, they can always be added in as APIs to talk to the system. And just to amplify what Amber was saying, so independent within the campus, as Amber was saying, there is verification. So we have access to all bureaus and databases and national government, which has been through approval and secure servers. So we're able to feed in so that when someone puts in their details, there's the physical geolocation, there's the verification with someone's ID that they actually do exist, and it's all reconfirmed through this automated process. I think that also the power of this type of platform is when, as we mentioned, lots of paperwork. You can do keyword searches at some point. So if you're looking for a certain paragraph within a document and it's a 500-page document to 200-page, it's easy to then quickly find something when you're trying to apply your mind in a certain specific aspect of a document or a case. Go for it, yeah.
Hi, I'm Candace from Northern Rose Fulbright. I just wanted to find out whether you have any mandatory fields that need to be created or disqualifying criteria on the form itself. Because we work with a master's online registration system at the moment, and if you don't put in an ID number, or if the ID number is not verified by Home Affairs, they won't open the file.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to use movie terminology. We lights, camera, action, take two. We couldn't get the first half, so if we can just start again. Sorry. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Candace from Norton Rose Fulbright. The question I asked was, do you have any mandatory fields, compulsory fields that need to be included or disqualifying criteria, for example, ID numbers that lack verification? So when we use like the Master's Office online platforms, they will not proceed to the next page if you don't have an ID number or if the ID number is not verified by Home Affairs. So this is problematic when you're dealing with asylum seekers and refugees or people who are just stateless, or even South Africans that have never been registered for ID numbers. So I just wanted to find out if there are disqualifying criteria.
So as we spoke about earlier, the system is completely customizable to your needs. We would obviously recommend certain mandatory fields, obviously for security and verification purposes, but according to what your firm or organization needs, the work processes and flows can be set up in that way. So if you don't want them to be mandatory, they don't have to be. And that's, all the fields have been made quite dynamic so that you can add and remove as you wish without necessarily changing the structure or the function of the platform. So no, there are no mandatory fields coded into the way the system functions, but we can apply mandatory fields or take them away as needed. Yes.
So yeah, I mainly have a question on support, right? So you have external providers that's coming on board working with pro bono, and they get invited and they work on this case management platform as well. Let's just say that they don't know how to work. Is there a hotline, is there a support line that we can call to get that, and who's managing it, where
Yes, so
those costs?
Empire Partner Foundation, we run and manage the system, and we provide all support, upgrades, maintenance, etc. We also provide all of the training, both if you're onboarding onto the pro bono platform or if you're taking the case management system for yourself or your firm. And we do offer it as, number one, a service that you can run for yourself, or as a managed service.
Okay. And
So-
is it 24 hours or is it during business hours?
That depends on the contract that we sign.
Okay, and so if you are thinking about commercializing it in your white labeling solution,
Yes.
what's your price in mind at the moment per user per month?
So we have a SaaS model, obviously be dependent on the amount of users that you need, the type of support that you would need, how much customization, etc. So it would be a discussion to be had. There isn't necessarily a number that we throw out, and it's obviously a lot lower than a lot of the UK case management platforms because it is built and hosted locally. So I can definitely assure you that whatever you're currently paying, it's less. But I can't just throw out a number. That would be a discussion that we're more than willing to have.
I think also the benefit is that as you work with it and you need fixes or changes, the dev team is here. It's not
Okay.
like you're waiting for someone in America or US or UK to come and write an email and come back. This is the dev team, and then they can actually come and understand from you what's the challenge or what you'd like, and then they can tailor it as well.
So, I mean, our usual process with that is that we would invite you for a scoping session. We'd understand what your needs are, understand how much would need to be changed or not need to be changed on the system, and then come to a price point. Also, depending on how many people you want to manage or how far you'd like to use the DCM.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sorry, maybe I'll ask one more. Sorry.
Yes.
So let's just say an example of consultation happens and somebody comes in and the documents that they provide isn't in English. Consultation doesn't happen in English, but the service provider who comes on is only an English speaker. Is there a way for the platform to provide that information?
We do have platforms and APIs that allow for translation of PDFs. They can be done with communication via WhatsApp. There are definitely a lot of add-ons, especially for, we also have AI voice activated agents that do translation of your text, etc. So yes, there are those services available.
And your downtime, what's your downtime looking like at the moment? No downtime.
Well, at the moment, I think I'll, pardon? We have a 109% uptime with a negative 1. No, so since we've worked with Pro Bono, we haven't necessarily had any downtime unless we have moved servers, because obviously the amount of cases and what we're doing has expanded. But more than that, I think Shafi and his team can speak to
Any downtime?
any downtime. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Of Daphne, any downtime on the DCM?
No, it's been working very effectively.
Straight from our client's mouth. Okay, so I think we're ready for, we just have a quick video for you guys if there's no more questions, and then we can get into our closing and networking. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy. Are you good? Yeah?
Teams
Melissa?
Where's the remote with the TV?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. This for this TV. Okay, so I think everybody, if you guys would like to get more refreshments while we just sort this out, please feel free, get something else to drink, get a few more snacks, and then we can come back to our video. Oh, sorry. Everyone, if you have not signed our register, please could I kindly request that you do so. I'll start with you.
Go step outside.
One lecture away from
Just